Which Mandela effect confuses you the most? I am not crazy. I know he swapped those numbers. I knew it was 1216. One after Magna Carta. As if I could ever make such a mistake. Never. Never. I just couldn't prove it. He covered his tracks, he got that idiot at the copy shop to lie for him. You think this is something? You think this is bad? This chicanery? He's done worse. That billboard. Are you telling me that a man just happens to fall like that? No. He orchestrated it. Jimmy. He defecated through a sunroof. And I saved him. And I shouldn't have. I took him into my own firm. What was I thinking? He'll never change. He'll never change. Ever since he was 9, always the same. Couldn't keep his hands out of the cash drawer. But not our Jimmy. Couldn't be precious Jimmy. Stealing them blind. And he gets to be a lawyer? What a sick joke. I should have stopped him when I had the chance. And you have to stop him. You. No. What? No. It's there. Must be. I have a feeling I'm going to have a nightmare about this. No. I refuse to give in, someone must have swapped the logos. First time hearing about the Fruit of the Loom logo, I always thought it was just some fruit like on a mantle or a basket but not a cornucopia. I remember the cornucopia but unless FOTL has some serious video editing skills, all the old commercials do not have the cornucopia. Dolly's braces in the movie Moonraker no longer exist. Now that scene where her and Jaws both smiled at each other with metallic smiles, which made it so amusing, and makes the scene nearly pointless. I remember laughing at that scene nearly 2 decades after it was made. They even had commercials recreate the scene. Also, the memory of the Monopoly guy having a monocle stands out. The one I am confused the most with is the Coca-Cola hyphen. When I first heard of the Mandela effect, I read about it on Facebook. It said Coca-Cola had no hyphen, so I thought ridiculous. I googled Coca-Cola and Google's response was, "Did you mean Coca-Cola?" So I went to the vending machine to check the Coke. No hyphen. I was shocked. 2 days later, I mentioned it to a friend. By that time, not only was the hyphen back, but it was smaller and in a slightly different configuration. It has remained the same since. The Curious George Tale 1. My brother and I grew up watching the show, and me being the animal buff I was always kinda angry that they called him a monkey all the time. I remember specifically thinking, hey, he doesn't have a tail, so he's not a monkey, he's an ape or another primate like, those were my exact thoughts. But I never voiced them because it was Curious George, who cares? Years later, my brother brings up Mandela effects and examples and we try to figure out what we remember and if it's right. We get to Curious George and we start arguing about his tail. I said no tail, he says that he had a tail. We look it up and lo and behold, no tail. That's why this one always bugged me. How can two people who watched the same show together for years remember it differently? Probably the Monopoly Man's monocle or the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia. Edit. Everyone focuses on the Monopoly Man one because there is zero logical explanations to the cornucopia one. Everyone remembers the cornucopia. The entire reason most people know what a cornucopia is, was because of the FOTL logo LOL. The Monopoly Man's monocle, and top hat, is easily explained, people mix him up with Mr. Peanut. The monocle is easy to explain, is an object associated with the archetype of a rich person, so most people assume Monopoly Man has to have one. Gaslighting at its finest. Oddly, the kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby. The reason this trips me up is because the entire reason I know about the Lindbergh kidnapping is I went through a random research rabbit hole about it as a teen, and the baby never being found and possibly living is part of what made it interesting given how high profile Charles Lindbergh was. That prominent of a missing child cold case really stuck out. I have clear memories of reading about it, and then years later was shocked to find out it was wrong / a Mandela effect thing and that the baby was found murdered. Lots of the other Mandela effect stuff are things I can easily accept as small misrememberings, especially since so many are small aesthetic details. But this one? It's so much harder to buy that I am that wrong about a story I was interested in and invested time in. Chicanery. Chuck, calm down buddy. Fruit of the Loom logo with a cornucopia. According to the company, the logo of the Fruit of the Loom brand has never had a cornucopia image on it. https://www.fruit.com/fruit-story-static.html. What's crazy is that someone emailed the creator of the logo about it and he said even he remembers it having one. Edit, found the picture of Fruit of the Loom logo with the cornucopia, https://imager.com/ngvva43. Edit 2, found the post where a Redditor sent the email to the creator of that logo, https://www.reddit.com/r/mandela-effect/comments/c1u050/i_tracked_down_the_loom_illustrator. I thought I learned what a cornucopia was because of that logo. Oh. Is it just a pile of fruit then? It's weird, I remember it having one a while ago but then changing the logo to not include it. I'm no graphic artist but I doubt this logo is legit. One, if you look at the fruits, the line width is very consistent, and there doesn't seem to be any line width adjustment to reinforce depth or anything like that, nor is the outer edge, the one that borders the white background, thicker. It is the complete opposite for the cornucopia, the lines are jittery and the line weight's inconsistent. 2. The only form of shadows that are implied for the fruits are the horizontal lines you can see across the grapes and apple, which are all perfectly parallel and fairly evenly spaced. On the cornucopia, the lines follow the contour of the object and are therefore curved, although these lines may represent texture rather than shape. However, we can also notice that the cornucopia has different shades of brown for the inside to denote the shadows intensifying. 3. I may be wrong on this one, but it doesn't seem like the light source for the fruits and cornucopia match very well. Overall, for the fruits, the light seems to be coming from the top right, as denoted by the specular reflection on the fruits, although the apple doesn't match here, and the shadows being on the bottom left. Even if we assume that the curvy lines represent texture rather than shadows, you usually show texture in parts of the image that are less exposed to light, because too much direct light tends to hide texture in real life. I'd expect the texture to start appearing a bit lower on the right side to match the lighting of the fruits.